Hi, I'm Lenamarie Gorski. I'm a birth, postpartum doula, and a childbirth educator. I created this mini birth series as a free resource for new and expected parents, VBAC parents, and maybe more experienced parents that didn't have a great experience the first time around and they want to change that. I strongly believe that a key to a good birth is not that it's unmedicated, but that it's educated to make the choices that are right for you every step of the way. The main goal of this series is to educate you on informed consent, your rights in birth, preparing a birth plan, and to outline the stages of birth as well as infant care. Last week, we just covered an overview of the series, and if you put in the hashtag birth with voice or mini birth series, you can find all of the videos. This week, which is part one, we're going to cover the stages of birth as well as the signs of labor. The stages are early active, active labor, transition, birth of the baby, and birth of the placenta. And each stage has its own challenges, and we're going to cover all of them. Early labor is the am I in labor phase, and this is when we can try to pinpoint or do our best to pinpoint if labor is actually starting and if baby is in the right position for labor. Early active labor is going to be one of your longest stages of labor because your body is really just getting that marathon started. You can have contractions, which can start off like a period cramp with some tightening, and they may not be timeable at first, just annoying, and then move into timeable contractions. You can have your bloody show here, you could have some flu-like symptoms, you could have some nausea, some diarrhea. Some people experience something called PROM, which is your water breaking before contractions start. It's not common. Only about 20% of people have that big gush. Most people just have a little trickle, but if that happens, of course, call your provider. If labor fizzles out in this stage, or if your contractions fizzle out, that's kind of a good indicator that baby is not in the right position. So that is just one of your signs that we need to just do some movement and get the baby in a different position. The next stage is active labor, and this is the stage where your contractions are timeable. They're going to start taking your breath away, and they're usually in 3 to 5 minute increments, lasting at 1 minute. This is the stage where you're really going to start thinking about calling your midwife or calling your doctor and heading to where you'll be birthing. Most places have something called like 411 or 311. I think 311 is a little too close. I like to go with 511, which is your contractions 5 minutes apart, lasting 1 minute for 1 hour. You may or may not have pressure in this stage, but be mindful of it. The pressure usually comes in the next stage of labor. Our next stage of labor is called transition. This is the quickest part of labor, but it is also the hardest part of labor. The contractions are coming every 1 to 2 minutes, and there's very little break in them. They are very intense. This usually happens around 8 to 10 centimeters. So you will also start to have some pressure during this stage. The pressure will start when you're having contractions, but let up after the contraction is gone. And then the pressure eventually will stay even after the contractions are gone. The good news, your baby is almost here. So this is really hard, but every contraction in this stage is really bringing your baby down, bringing your baby closer to you. And the next stage of labor is birth of the baby. The next stage is birth of the baby. You can get a possible lull in contractions at this point as your uterus is adjusting to the baby being in the birth canal, and it can stay the whole time while you push. Your contractions can go back to 3 to 5 minutes apart. It's kind of a nice break while you're pushing. I've actually had clients fall asleep while they're pushing sometimes in between, but then of course the contractions are gonna get you, wake you back up, and you're gonna be ready to rock and roll again. You will have the urge to push, whether you have the epidural or not. You will feel pressure and you will feel, like you have to push. And your fetal ejection reflex can kick in. That's when the baby comes out without even pushing. I've witnessed that several times, and it's actually really cool. You could also hear a primal grunt come out. If you do not have the epidural, you may hear a little bit of a primal grunt. And I call it primal because you don't even recognize it coming out of your own body. And you're like, did I just make that sound? And when I hear that sound, because I've heard it several times, I usually hit that call button and say, hey, we need to get someone in here now because I think we're having a baby. You will have increased pressure in your rectum and in your vagina. And this is just the baby on your perineum. There are pain relief methods that can help with that. If you don't have the epidural, there are pain relief methods for this. So don't get, so hung up on the ring of fire. Everybody hears that and they get very, very scared. I wouldn't get so hung up on it, but just know that it can potentially happen. And then your baby is here. You're a mom now, but you're still not done. That's right. We still have one more stage, and that's the birth of the placenta. This stage, you don't get a lot of reprieve. Most doctors are going to start to massage your uterus before the contractions begin again, and they will tug on the cord to bring the placenta out. And they may ask you to push as well. If you want to do it naturally and let the placenta release, it can take up to 30 minutes for the contractions to pick back up again. And also, if you have this plan, I really suggest that you talk to your provider about that as well. Getting the placenta out is very important for healing as well as infection. So they really want to make sure that it comes out and it all comes out in one piece and everything else. It's very important also because if there's any retained placenta, you can have bleeding as well, and it can just cause a whole host of problems. So they really want to make sure that placenta gets out. So if you have any other ideas of waiting naturally or whatever, you really need to discuss that with your provider, and then they can discuss with you the pros and the cons of it, because informed consent is super important. So this covers all of the stages of birth as well as signs of labor. The series is pre-recorded, but I do encourage you to ask questions on all of my posts and I will answer them. And if you want to, we can have a Q&A session. I will schedule one if there's enough questions. Don't forget to click on the link in my bio or on this video. If this is on TikTok, unfortunately, you'll have to go to Instagram and click on the link in that bio because they think that I'm trying to, I guess, traffic you. But you'll just subscribe to my email list on that link, and I will send you the handouts from all of the videos and more series offers that are gonna come. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey. And next week, we will talk about informed consent. So I really hope that I can help you birth with a voice.